Already about to get ready to get that.
But now we're crazy, no one love me but my mama, to be honest with you. But seeing demons, chasing ghosts, sleeping seldom, to be honest with you. But now we're crazy, no one love me but my father, to be honest with you. Even if we're walking blind, there was no man left behind, to be honest with you. But now we're crazy, no one love me but my mama, to be honest with you. With you. But seeing demons, chasing ghosts, sleeping seldom, to be honest with you. With you. But now we're crazy, no one love me but my father, to be honest with you. With you. Even if we're walking blind, there was no man left behind, to be honest with you. With you.
All right, we gotta get up in this right now.
I tried to tell my story in many ways. Was taught to posture strong.
Hey, for everybody that's out there right now, I'm your own, the real Clevonne right now, where we have this podcast is informative to give you the information that you need so you can grow and become better than where you was, because we're trying to change the norm. That's what the goal and the game plan is, to change the norm. And so many of us have been struggling with trying to change the norm that we don't even know what that looks like. That's one of the biggest challenges for so many people. But I have to give a shout out to the young T-Rab. He actually out here putting out his feelings, to be honest. If y'all ain't heard it, check it out, because that's one of those things where so many of us young men, old men, grown men, we don't have actual dialogue where we can be 100%, be 100 about what we're going through mentally, internally. Because a lot of times as a man, who the hell do I have to talk to? Who's actually got my back? Who's actually there to listen? The first thing I grew up with is, hey, pray about it. Pray about it. God gonna work it out. God gonna work it out. And to this day, some stuff I'm still praying about that I had to get out there and go do myself. Not doubting prayer, but what I am saying is that we've been misled on how to handle certain issues internally. So I gotta get into this right now, because I got a couple things that we gotta bring to the forefront. One of the things that I've actually been seeing big time is how a lot of people within my community react to reality truth. And when I'm talking about reality truth is when somebody comes forward and tell the people the truth, they got a problem with it. People don't want to hear the truth. People don't want you to come to them and be like, hey, bro, you was wrong, or that was a problem. They don't want to hear that, because they want you to side with the ignorance. I got to give a shout out to Mr. Charleston White. I got to give a shout out to that brother. Charleston White is our new Joe Clark. Charleston White is our new Joe Clark. You know why I say that? It's because Joe Clark went out his way, put his life on the line to try to save the kids. That was his number one purpose. I got to save these babies. I'm trying to save them from drug dealers, all kinds of different things that they're going to get caught up in and being misled. That is my focus. I don't care about you adults. That's why he told the fire chief, hey, man, I don't know if you one of the bad people, because you don't know actually what's going on out here when our babies are constantly being misled. And a lot of things that we were taught, because I was a product of it, we were taught to be quiet about things that affect us. We were taught to not speak up on things that are tearing us up, things that are tearing us down. We were taught, shut up, don't say nothing about it. And that is one of our biggest issues within the community. So I got to give a shout out to him, because if nobody ain't caught on, he's saying, I'm putting on a show. I'm putting on a show. What's the show? Y'all are paying for the show. Y'all are going out y'all way. Y'all will believe any lie in a hot second. You will believe somebody misleading you, harming your children, harming your babies. You will accept it and never fight it. That's exactly what he said. So if y'all gonna believe a lie, then I'm gonna go on here and go front just like the rappers we believe in, just like the entertainers we believe in, because we're being misled. And he's saying that y'all will go out your way to kill each other, but you won't kill the person that's setting you up to go kill each other. You will never go against that dynamic. And that's why I'm giving him a shout out, because most people aren't going to speak up, and our people are very quick to fight things that help us. Things that are beneficial, things that help us, we are quick to fight it. We are quick to tear it down. We are quick to bash one another. We are quick to set one another up. When I look at my own situation, I look at who was the people that set me up. It surely wasn't the record label that set me up. It was my own people. I've been in situations where people will see somebody rob you. People will see somebody take everything from you and they will never say nothing, never do nothing about it because they're like, oh, you deserve it. But we keeping the code. If we're keeping the code to look after one another, why are you going to let me get set up? Why are you going to let me get in a position that's going to harm me, my babies, my children? We have a lot of things that go on in our community where it's consistent molestation. It's consistent abuse. It's consistent pedophiles. You know how the old grown man that was in the set sitting up here trying to get at the young girls, trying to make them sex in because he's preying on a young girl, 13-year-old girl with a 40-year-old man. 40-year-old man over here with this 19-year-old girl and he living under her mama roof. What kind of bull crap is that? These are things that will go on and we see it and ain't nobody ever say nothing about it. So that's why I say I got to give much props to him. And if you look at what just happened with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders just changed over to something totally different that's beneficial for him, his family, and his mission. And a lot of people say he sold out. He sold out. But ain't nobody say he sold out when all his jewelry, his phone, his credit cards all got stolen during a game in the locker where it was locked up in the coach's room. Ain't nobody say nothing about that. Ain't nobody come out to defend him on that. We speak on the wrong stuff. And a lot of our people have to actually change that mindset up of how we're out here speaking on things that's tearing us down. How are you going to speak on something that's tearing me down and talk about I deserve it? Why? Where did we get this mindset from? And I got to transition that over there too when we go into church. Why do I bring up church? Church tells you that you deserve to be afflicted. You deserve to go through pain. God wants you to suffer. God want me to suffer? God want me to actually suffer? God want me to damn near kill myself? That's what God wants from me? God say I'm not a good servant because I ain't suffered? What kind of crap is that? And it's so misleading in our churches. It's broken so many of our homes. I'm going to go into the church now because the church, ain't nobody going to talk about the crap that goes on in the church. That's misleading. Because I myself, I've watched a lot of pastors, preachers tear up families. We will give this person who's uneducated, misleading and misguided, we will give them all kinds of authority over our households, our lives, our families. We will trust the words because we're looking for hope, and a lot of them play on it. I've watched people who come off the street and say, I'm a bishop, I'm a pastor. And what do? They put them up there and they give them the highest level regard or respect. And the reason why a lot of this goes on, because we don't have many men in our homes protecting it. We don't have many men to speak up on our behalves. So ain't nobody gonna say nothing about the crap that goes on within our homes, because in our community, you don't say nothing. You keep it quiet. I've watched so many of them tear down our men and say he ain't worth nothing. They encourage the kids not to respect their fathers, not to respect their homes. And we're telling everybody it's okay. So when we lose the men, we've lost the men out here in the community. And then you say, where are the men? When we've lost our babies, when we lost our women, where are the women out here searching for a man to love on them? How can a man love on you when you are taught that you don't need a man? When you are taught to push a man away, when you are taught that men ain't nothing, when you don't respect who he is, what he brings to the table, that man brings more to the table than you would ever know. But you've never been taught that. So because you've never been taught that, you don't believe it. And because you ain't never seen it, you don't believe it. Because you ain't never heard the way he speaks or the way he guides you or the way he leads, you don't believe it. You don't believe things that you never seen, but you believe the preacher. You believe the preacher. Why is it that the preacher is the only one in the church married? Why is the preacher the only one we're giving reverence to their marriage, their anniversary? And the majority of people, women who are in church, are single. The ones who are married, a lot of them, you have a very few who dedicate their entire day to church. Church ties up so much time of your life. You went to church on Sunday. You did 8 a.m. service, 11 a.m. service, 3 o'clock service. Then you had to go to somebody else's church for maybe a 6 o'clock service, and you didn't get home till 10. That's a whole day of work. You did 3 shifts. Then you get out of there, you got to go to a meeting or some type of Bible study on Monday. Then you got to go to a kids rehearsal or something on Tuesday. Then you got another Bible study on Wednesday. Then you got some type of other extracurricular thing on Thursday, maybe a pantry. Then you got something maybe Friday as your break time. Then you get to Saturday, oops, we got another rehearsal. And we right back to Sunday. That's your whole day. Not including that you had to go to work. Not including that you had to be a parent. Where is the leader? This is what I'm saying about these pastors. Be considerate of the fact that many of them have families. Many of them have children. They need to get their kids home on time in the bed. They need to go spend time with their babies. But many of them will get mad. Well, where's Sister Valerie at? We want to preach. We know that you went out of town with that new man. Oh, wow. So Sister Valerie been single all her life. She finally finds a man that's doing for her. And they was many of them, the little thinking ones, the small community church mindset ones will say, well, we going to pray about him because we don't know about him. But then Sister Valerie could have been the pastor's side piece. So he going to say everything possible to negate her from being happy. But we can't talk about that part. So I'm going to leave the church part down the street. But when we get back to this thing within our community, why is it the fact that it's okay for us to lose our babies, lose our men, and then we lose our women who trying to hold the weight of something that they were not built to carry? Our women were not built to carry all this weight. So when you're walking out here, ladies, and you say, I don't need no man, I don't need nobody. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself and tell yourself and the rest of the world you don't need nobody. We all need somebody. You're not trying to die alone. That is not the goal. That is not the game plan. You know, it's great to be able to have somebody that you can laugh with, somebody you can joke with, somebody you can go take trips with, somebody to help you balance out with them kids when they're acting up, somebody to help cook, somebody to actually rub your feet, somebody to actually hug you and hold you when you get home. You need that support. But you're out here, now the new trend is you're going to go get a BBW. What, for a BBL? Now you got a BBL, but it didn't fix your mind. I would tell anybody this. You can go get an old jacked up car, but if you can find one with a good engine, the body don't mean jack. You can always fix the body, but it's hard to fix that mind unless you get a whole new overhaul engine dropped up in that body of that car. And many of our women, many of these women out here, they look good. They look good. And what do a man want to do? I want to stab. That's it. I want to test it out. After I done tested it out, I ain't interested no more because I realize how your mindset is. So you out here, you just showed your breasts, you showed your bucks, everything is looking good because men are visual creatures. So I visually seen you. Yes, I'm going to take you out because what do y'all think? Y'all think of us as cash cows anyways. Y'all think of us as what can I get out of you? So once I get my excitement, I'm not interested because one, I realize how shallow you are. I realize how you sit here and play games and it's not attractive to me. I want a woman who has the traditional things that will teach my daughter how to be a woman. I need a woman that understands how to teach the daughter that I will protect you. Teach the son how a woman's supposed to be. Your body looks good. Anybody can pay for a body, but baby, you can't pay for a mind. And until you're willing to let go of your old teaching, you will always be the same. I asked a woman recently, I said, are you willing to unlearn all the negative you've been taught? And her response was, ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. You got the problem. I said, ooh. If you believe that all the bad teachings that you've been taught is not wrong, something's really wrong with you. Something really wrong with you. And somebody got to stay clear of her. But most men will go out and get the enjoyment. Here's the issue with so many of our men. Nobody taught them. Nobody taught a lot of our young men what to look for, how to operate in relationship, how to operate in love. What are you supposed to look for? What type of woman you look for? What are you not supposed to do? Because we are taught when our hormones get to raging, I want to hit everything. Everything look good. I'm gonna get it now. So you hurry up and you go and you hitting it. Now you got a baby with somebody that ain't mentally there because they not willing to unlearn what they've been taught. They don't think that they have a problem. So you've had a child with someone who's not qualified, but you don't know your value. Then I got to go to a lot of our young ladies. A lot of our young ladies are so willing to lay down with any man because they've never seen a man. They've seen women bash men, and so they grew up with the mindset that I don't need a man, I'm good. And then when you finally get a man, you give yourself away and you feel like crap because you know he ain't worth the damn. You know he ain't worth the damn. But most of the mothers will let this grown-ass man come move in the house because he offered some money. Because the reason why he was able to do that, because he knows that there's no protection around there. These are things that have to shift. When you see somebody inappropriately touching your children, what do you need to do? Speak up on that crap when it happens right away. But nobody speaks up on this stuff. They'll let it go. Oh, they're little kids. No, you check that kid right there in his face. You check their parents right there in their face. We are so timid internally because of what we've been taught. And one of the places we've been taught is in church. One of the places we've been taught in our community. We've been taught so irresponsibly, so unbalanced because we don't have the balance. There's a high rise of, because I can't get a reaction out of you, I'm going to put you on child support. Let me tell you something, ladies. You are tearing your children up. You are tearing your children up when you go do that crap. So you go threaten a man with child support. So now you trying to mess with his mental to get a reaction. But in reality, your children are crying out for help. That's why predators are able to get a hold of your children, because you are so willing to break down the daddy that you are willing to tear down your kids just for your moment of happiness. To see that man broken. Shame on you. Shame on you. I have to tell you, shame on you. Any woman that says child support is so needy, you can talk to a man. You can talk to him. Men are simple. And you know if you got somebody who ain't worth the damn, don't sit here and play down dumb like, oh, he never did nothing. You know what you got yourself into. Why do so many women go out their way to put good men on child support as well? It ain't no race thing when it comes to this child support either. It ain't no race thing. There are good men out there. I've watched Caucasian men. I watch Asian men. I watch all kinds. I ain't seen too many Asians. I know they out there though. But I watch Hispanic men. I watched a lot of different men. They're on child support fighting to be a father. Fighting to be there. Then in the child support office, they got some damn commercial showing you what a good father looks like. What the hell going on here? Then if you go and make a payment, you got to pay an extra couple dollars. So women, you're going to take away from your children just so you can try to break the daddy down out of your unhappiness. Truth is, you are not happy. Let's be real. You are not happy. Somebody that is happy and comfortable within themselves will not be playing these old pussy ass games. That's the truth. But in our community, who's teaching our young ladies, you don't do this to your children? Who's teaching our young men, you got to know your value? Who's telling the young man you are valuable? Who's telling the grown man they are valuable? Men, do you realize how valuable your seed is? Your seed is so valuable, but you'll never know it. How can he ever know it when ain't nobody ever taught him that? Ain't nobody teach him how valuable his seed is. Son, you're going to have children. Your children are a representation of you, but you don't give yourself, your seed, to any woman. I wish somebody would have told me that growing up. You don't give yourself to any woman. Every woman is not deserving of your seed to carry your seed. Why am I saying that? Because your children will grow up the way I'm describing. They're fighting to see you. They're fighting to be there. They're being miseducated. They're not learning anything outside of iPad and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And they're 8 years old out here. You don't want your children in a situation like that. That's why you got to be valuable, mindful who you give your seed to, because there is value in your seed. Yes, your kids have your genes. Yes, your clock is ticking, but go find a woman that got some common sense, because there's a lot of them that ain't got no common sense. For all the women, the same to you. The same to you. Look at the family history. Look at how the family dynamic is set up. Look at now, if you're dealing with somebody that say, I don't deal with my family like that. You know, it's been so much that happened. I stay to myself, but you can see that. But when you're dealing with somebody and you're saying they're always around their family and their family is toxic, you got to rethink that. Even if you do see the potential in that person, what is that person's value and interaction when it comes to family? You will learn that. Pay attention to triggers. When you see a person and you hear certain things, pay attention to the triggers. The triggers tell you what's going on. Don't sit here and lie to yourself and say, oh, that ain't the case. No, it's the case, baby. It's the case. You gotta be mindful of where you allow somebody to have that vulnerable, valuable piece of you that everybody don't deserve to have. Everybody don't deserve to have that within you. So let me go back to the thing what I was talking about when I was saying about Charleston White and the thing that he's doing, because I followed the brother and I see how people are so quick to attack him. I've been following Kanye for a while. I see how people are so quick to attack him. I followed Farrakhan, and in church, the church told us that was the devil talking. There was some stuff that Farrakhan spoke about in 1985 that's going on right now. There's some stuff that Louis Farrakhan spoke about in 1985 that's going on right now. And the pastors say, you don't listen to that because that's the devil. The devil's trying to get you out there. I find that very interesting. I'm going to pull that up for many of you right now. So when we're talking about this thing, when I say about Louis Farrakhan, and I seen this myself, and I say, wow, he's talking about the things that we should have been aware of. But we were waiting on Jesus. We were waiting on Jesus. So I'm out here, we're waiting on Jesus. And Jesus, all we needed was the information, more of the story. But we didn't get the information. We got some other crap. We got some crap that didn't tell us this. Check this out, everybody. I want you to tune into this. Check this out really quick.
If you wait around here for the government to change it, if you wait around for politicians to change it, will it be changed? The only people that can change this is who? We ourselves. Look, in 1960, 74% of all black males were employed. Now, 24 years later, 55 to 60% of the black males, 45 to 50% of the black males are employed. And this is steadily changing, going down. There's a steady growth in female-headed families. Over 50% of all black families are headed by a woman. 700,000 new families were headed by females in 1981, and at the same time, 700,000 black men were added to the roll of the unemployed. If black men are being systematically pushed out, how can a black man command the respect of a black woman when he has nothing in himself to hold on to? Look at what we're saying, brother and sister. What are the social consequences of this economic condition? Blacks have higher infant and maternal mortality rates. Blacks have shorter life expectancies. In fact, brothers and sisters, according to the statistics, over 50,000 soldiers lost their lives in the Vietnamese conflict in nearly 9 years. There were 20,000 murders in America last year. Half of them were black men. So 10,000 young blacks lost their lives in the ghetto in 1 year as opposed to 50,000 Americans losing their lives in Vietnam. And what this is saying is you got a better chance in a war in Vietnam than walking the streets of the ghetto in America.
Wow.
For the first time in history, black suicide is up. Black men are committing suicide, young men and older men. Even when we were in slavery and the conditions were intolerable, black men survived without suicide. But today, the black man is killing himself because he sees no way out. I ask you, how in the world can you say that Farrakhan is a bigot, is a racist, is a man that is against the good of his people, when I come with a solution to the problem that 400 years of America's racism has committed?
Now, I will want you all to judge that for yourself. I definitely want you to judge it for yourself. There's another part in there where he's actually bringing up the thing about all the kids. Now, I want to make this a global dialogue. And the reason I say make it a global, because now it's all about a net catching. It's all about whoever gets trapped in this net is going to fall for it. That's it. If you get caught in this net, you are going to be a product of what he's describing. And many of us are so misinformed, so educated that we are, I believe that racism exists. Excuse me, but many of us don't understand the game. The person who's racist is being played, and the person who falls for it and entertains it is being played. So both of you being played against each other, and you ain't paying attention to a doggone thing that there's somebody up above all of us that's playing you all against each other. So if somebody says a racist thing, he called me the N-word, I'm going to let him have, what for? Them are words. Them are words. This is one of the issues within the community that everybody, you willing to fight and throw away everything over the words? What we used to say, I know I am, but what are you? We used to say things like that. But now everybody is embodying this stuff that's being said, and you got to understand how you are being played. We are all being played. There is a system of how you're being played. And if you are a part of this system, you are in this net. This is why it's important to have a 2-family home. Why am I saying that? Because you don't want to keep birthing children with randoms, and these randoms have randoms around your babies. And then your children are exposed to stuff they shouldn't be exposed to. Now, if there are 2 people that say, we realized we couldn't work it out, and we knew it wasn't going to work, but you co-parent together, not with the system, not with the games. If mama calls and say, hey, I'm going to come and pick up the baby real quick. All right, no problem. I'll get him ready. If daddy say, hey, you know what? I want to go and do something. Mama is no problem to say, here's your baby. Go ahead and go do what you're going to do. That gives you a break. Do you realize you got time to get you together? Don't just call the person when you want to go kick it. Don't call the person when you want to go just hang out. That's stupid. That's very stupid on your part. And it's very stupid of the parents that send their kids out with no coat in the cold. It's very stupid of the parents who send their kids out with smaller clothes than what they should have. Send your babies out. Their babies are a representation of you. So when you send the baby out, you say, yeah, they was with the daddy looking like that. No, fool. It's you too. People may not tell you to your face, your friends may not tell you to your face, but reality is you are a replication of that child. When people see that child, they're going to say, ooh, they'll come back to you being messy. And this is where you have to mature. Maturity makes a difference. Your maturity will allow you not to play into that bull crap. But when somebody come and tell us something about somebody else, what they say? You seen them where? That shows you how immature you are. There are a lot of people who speak very negative speak down on everybody. Every time you go around them, they always got something to say because they ain't got no life. And what happens is you embody that low key. And so every time you see people, you're talking about them and bringing this stuff up. No. Cut that out. That's something that will tear up your relationship with your family. That's something that will tear up your relationship and your parenting with your child. You got to let that crap go. That's unhealthy, very unhealthy. But really quick, before I go into this other part, I just want you all to listen to this last part of what Farrakhan was talking about. This is Farrakhan now. We were taught that, he's the devil. This is the devil that's speaking. This is in church. The devil is speaking. You don't want to hear that. All that crap. And I never in my life heard anybody talk about the stuff he's talking about. I never heard it. Never one time. And as I matured and I started recognizing things myself and was speaking on it and bringing it up, you are criticized, you are condoned and condemned in the church, and you are asked to not speak on things that are beneficial. How ignorant is that? How ignorant. Most people that go to church, that go there every week, you know what they do? Because it's a routine for them. Why do most people stay in the same church they in? Because they got stake in that church. They got stake of control in that church. And most people operate out of comfort control. Controlled comfort is the way most people operate. And they operate out of controlled comfort because they can control the climate that's going on in that building, make people feel uncomfortable, walk people out the door. So it's a comfort control. So you got to remember for yourself, stop going in other people's climate of control. Let them come on your territory if they want you to be somewhere, and see how many show up. Many won't. Many won't show up. This is something that has to be shifted right now. Let me finish this last part really quick.
Because white people who are the preparers of food are merchants of chemical death, loving profit more than the health of the American people. They are feeding the meat with hormones that fatten the calf before time, fatten the cattle and the chicken before time. Then you eat this meat, and your children at 8 and 9 years old, forming breasts, having their menses, and by 11 years old or 10 years old, they are having babies. And now the incidence of teenage pregnancy among black people is an epidemic proportion. Syphilis and gonorrhea running rampant in our community. Men being turned into homosexuals and women into lesbians, all because of this imbalance. A man cannot control himself. A man cannot feel dignified as a man. A man cannot walk into his home anymore and say this is his castle. He feels like a dog in his own house. So he turns to drugs. He turns to crime. Or he turns to homosexuality. I am not saying to any homosexual in this audience that you are not a good person. I know many homosexuals that are good men and good women. You are not born that way. It is circumstances that have made you other than yourself. But if you can learn and come back to Almighty God and see the value of being what God made you to be, you will know the glory of being a man and a woman.
That's what I'm going to stop him at. That's what I'm going to stop him at. I'm going to say, like I said before, I wish somebody would have had these dialogues. I'm going to say that. I wish someone would have had these dialogues, but these are not dialogues that were had. It is the information. If you can dig through, because we are so engulfed in saying, well, this and that, and you're trying to nitpick it. Listen to the message. The message. There are a lot of our babies affected. Babies, period. Children, period. Affected by what the entire setup is, and nobody ain't paying attention to the setup because we're all playing against each other. Somebody got to be right, somebody got to be wrong. You know, we are so quick to listen to people who ain't got nothing. We're so quick to listen to people who ain't never had nothing. We're so quick to trust people who ain't never been where you been, sacrifice what you sacrifice, ain't never been the place where you're trying to go, but they got a lot of opinion. I used to have a relative of mine, my uncle. He always say, come and talk to me first. Come and talk to me first. What am I talking to him for? Because when I started my businesses, he wanted me to come and talk to him. And I'm telling him what we made and what we have. And he could never help. He was never any help. But he wanted us to continue to talk to him. Well, how much money did you make? What do you have? So we're thinking, because we're so young, we're so impressionable, and we're looking for male guidance, that we're thinking, well, he's going to help us with some investments. He didn't know a damn thing. But he wanted to know how much money we made. And he wanted to remind us of how much money we lost. So when we took losses and blows and taking care of him and looking out for him, not one time did he ever look out for us. But he wanted to know what we made and how dumb it was. And me, all my degrees of education as a school teacher. And the reality is, what I made for a year as a school teacher, I would never make that as a business owner. The business owner, what I made for a school teacher, I made that in a month as a business owner, my salary. So what would you prefer? But this person always said, well, you need to keep that as a fallback because you're going to need that. The degrees, I would encourage my children to go and start businesses, to get trades. That's what my mother was trying to tell me. That's what my mother was trying to always remind me. You're good with your hands. Go and do this. You'll be more profitable, more successful. But because I was taught that you don't respect the men and ain't no man good, and he made it like he was the man, I'm listening to him. So therefore, I'm in college. I graduate college. Not one of my degrees have helped me. Not one degree has helped me. All of the trades that I learned that my mother told me to do has been beneficial. This is the same man that I'm looking up to that told me not to respect my father. This is the same man that made it like he was the one that did something for us and they never did nothing for us. There's a lot of misleading within the community. There's a lot of misleading within many people's homes. And this is the point I'm making, that you have to start unlearning the things that you have been, the negative things that you have been taught, so that you can start moving on the right path. How do I start healing if I don't know what direction to go? You got to start addressing things in the truth. Don't address them today and say, well, I'm healed tomorrow. It don't work like that. Because when you are conflicted, when you're going to run into a conflict within yourself and trying to figure out, well, what's right, what's wrong, what should I do, what should I not do, you got to understand that these are things you have to work through. You got to work through. You got to work through your addiction. You got to work through your depression. You got to work through overthinking things. You got to work on, even if you're a manipulator, you got to work on whatever it is. You got to address it. Be honest with yourself so that you can move forward. There's a lot that we have to start addressing within ourselves. And that's what we're going to be talking about from here on out. I really don't care what people have to say now, because when you get to a certain age, you stop worrying about what people have to say about you. I really don't care. I appreciate everybody always talking. When you are down, the honest to God truth, people won't be there. That is the truth. When you are down, all the people that you took care of will leave you. And the reason I say they'll leave you is because you know internally who was there for the benefit. And the people who were there that were genuinely trying to help you, the people that were there for the benefit will push the people who were genuinely trying to help you away. They will push them away. And now the people who were trying to help you will see this and they will just walk away. They will bow out. They'll bow out because there's something within you that's so clouded judgment. Before you can be successful, you need to start healing. I'm not saying don't become successful. I'm not saying don't do your business. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying start healing while you're in the process of figuring things out. That's it. You got to start unlearning the negativity that you were taught. So that's my time right now. I'm going to come back to y'all with another segment. But until we actually meet again, I want y'all to be mindful that today and yesterday ain't the same. Much love to you all. Shouts out to T-Rav. If you ain't heard him, hey, go support this young brother.
Depend on friends, I couldn't
Peace.
pretend. But some realer than most. Some diving off the boat and some keep it afloat. Those the ones I'm pulling in close. And I was dealing with some issues that I didn't even know. I understand. Don't leave me now. Take my hand. No way I win this battle alone. I need a plan to make it back to my body. Such an insidious experience. I'm trapped in the lobby.